Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user Work Partner Woes. Me, 25 male, with my girlfriend, 24 female. I recently met my work partner's wife and the differences in their personalities is making me jealous about what kind of relationship I could have. I've been with my girlfriend for 6 years and recently I've been wondering if she is really the one. I didn't doubt that she was until I recently started a new career and got a new partner at work, 29 male. He's been married for a year and has been with his wife, 28 female, for 7 years. We, him and I, spend over 40 hours a week together and have become fairly close. We've been talking about double dating so our significant others can meet, and when I brought it up with my girlfriend, I'll call her Sarah, she was really against the idea. In all honesty, she's been against this new career change in general, even though I make more money and get many more benefits, because she doesn't like the hours, and she says, "Everyone in your profession cheats." So when I brought it up, she became very distant and said something along the lines of, really paraphrasing here, "Why would I want to spend time with these people and give him, my partner, the idea that he's so close to me and can even know me better than she does?" I know, it didn't make sense to me either, but after talking about it, it seemed like she felt like she was being replaced by my partner because we have to spend so much time together, and I only get to see her 2 or 3 times a week with my schedule, her part-time job, and she's going to uni full-time. I assured her that she was my #1 priority and he was just a cool guy that I have to be with due to work circumstances. Then, a few weeks ago, I was at the bar with my cousin. Sarah was invited, but she doesn't like my cousin because she finds him too cheerful and candid. And I ended up bumping into my work partner and his wife, my first time meeting her. His wife is very unlike my girlfriend, much more extroverted. She immediately got very excited when my partner told her who I was and told me all about the funny stories she heard about me. I was kind of thrown off by how open and friendly she was since my girlfriend sort of convinced me that her feelings of not wanting to meet or associate with them were normal, huh? And like every girl would feel that way. I guess I don't know. But then his wife immediately launched into how we have to all finally get together, and watching the two of them together was just so opposite of how my girlfriend and I act. They animate each other like a 2-person comedy act, and I found myself becoming a bit jealous. I did get a little tipsy and admitted to his wife that my girlfriend was worried about the cheating that people associate with my field, and she sort of laughed and said that people say the same things to her, but she trusts my work partner and she just laughs it off when people say things. At work the next day, my partner ended up telling me that my cousin, the one I was with at the bar, was talking to his wife and confessed that he doesn't even like Sarah, news to me, and that the things my cousin told her, he didn't specify, worried her because she was really looking forward to hanging out together and she was now afraid my girlfriend wouldn't like her. I pressed him for more details, but he either didn't know or didn't want to say. Later that night, I mentioned to Sarah casually that I bumped into them and his wife really wanted to meet her. She didn't like this and again told me she was too busy and had no interest in pretending to be best friends with people who think they're so close to me. I dropped it because it was late, but it started to get on my nerves about how opposite these two women are and react to things. Then yesterday happened. My work partner and I had a really early meeting in a city about an hour and a half away. And the night before we left work at around 10 p.m. He offered to let me stay at his house because we had to be up at 4:30 a.m. and he lives an hour closer. I was stressing out because I didn't have time to iron a suit, and I called Sarah and asked if she would go to my apartment, we don't live together but she has a key, and set a suit up for me. It's crucial that we look put together at work, and I knew she wasn't doing anything that night. She got really angry. First, that I was staying over at my partner's house, then that I was treating her like a slave. I have never in my life asked her to do anything like this. But I'm still very new in my position and I'm stressed out. She said she has too much work to do and refused. So I ran home, grabbed my stuff and drove to my partner's house. I guess I was visibly agitated because his wife asked me what was wrong the minute I arrived, and I just spilled it about how stressed and exhausted I was, nervous for tomorrow, and how Sarah had snapped at me and wouldn't help me. His wife just said, "Okay, we will have to get back to that Sarah thing at another time, but go relax and I will get your suit ready." I tried to argue because I felt really bad, but she wasn't having any of it and flat out ignored my protests while she got the iron set up. It just showed me again how different they are and what a supportive partner actually looks like. I got off really early today and I have barely talked to Sarah all day. Now I'm just drinking beers in my apartment alone, which I rarely do, and wondering if this relationship is even worth it anymore. I don't have a crush on my partner's wife or anything, but she seems to possess all of the qualities I feel I want. And I'm finding myself getting really jealous and annoyed. But after 6 years, I really don't want to throw everything away if this is something that we can work through. Well, OP, first things first. Did you tell off your cousin for crap talking your girlfriend to your coworker's wife? Because regardless of how your girlfriend has behaved, what your cousin did is out of line, and you should say something if you haven't. On that note, I also think it wasn't cool of you to talk to your coworker's wife about your girlfriend. I understand that you were stressed and you were pissed, but I still don't agree with that behavior. Now, having said that, my main question would be, are you happy in this relationship? Do you like your girlfriend? And it seems to me that you're staying with her because it's been 6 years and you don't want to throw that away. Now, I did my best to be fair and try to see things from her perspective, but I don't see some of her arguments to have strong points. Like the 40-hour work week, with some overtime like you say, but still, that's kind of like the norm, right? Also, it doesn't sound like she's supportive of you at all. And I know she has her reservations about your career, but come on, making an illogical stink to avoid going to a double date with your work partner and his wife is a bit much. I get that she can be insecure, but she's the one putting up a wall between her and you and any social life, and I kind of think you don't want that wall. And it's because of that I'm not so sure you can work this out, OP. Bottom line, OP, you need to think really hard if you really like or love your girlfriend anymore. And if the answer is no, staying with her because it's been 6 years and you want to see if she can change is not the reason to stay together. And what do you guys think about all this? What is your advice for OP? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they had to say. California Jade says, "As I was reading your story, it struck me how fear can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Sarah is so afraid of losing you, and now her fear is making you question your relationship. Has she lost other people in her life because they moved on? If you could get her to look at what she's doing, you might still have a chance to make this work." Deleted says, "The extroversion doesn't matter. And remember, you're only seeing the side of this woman that she presents to the world or her husband's workmates. Your girlfriend, however, sounds very unsupportive, cynical, negative, and insecure. Those are all valid reasons to question a future with her. Have you asked her why her attitudes are so negative?" And OP responds, "I've never used those particular words, but I have asked her what her biggest concern is, and it comes down to the fact that my career has all these dumb cheating rumors that she read on Tumblr, and she feels like my late hours are an excuse to cheat. It's not the case, and I'm way too new to negotiate my schedule." Cat Juggler says, "When I meet my husband's work colleagues, I'm on my absolute best, most positive behavior. It would be silly to assume I'm like that all the time. I'm not going to tell them I don't like the hours he works. You're comparing how your coworker's wife presents herself in one situation to the reality of your girlfriend. Apples and oranges. Additionally, I would expect more domestic support from a spouse than from a girlfriend or boyfriend you don't live with. I'm also seeing a lot of how you want to be supportive, but how do you support your girlfriend?" Additional information from OP's comments. "Everything was fine between us until I started this new job. I thought she would need time to adjust, and I don't want to be unfair to Sarah. I know change is hard for some people, but every step of the way, I feel like my partner's wife has exemplified acceptance and support. There are other examples, I just don't want my post to get too long, and my girlfriend has pushed back. She seems hung up on the cheating thing. I've never cheated, and my girlfriend just resents my work 100% and how much time I spend with my partner compared to her. And saying this hurts. I do love her, but a lot less recently due to her lack of support." Also, my partner's wife has a full-time job, and it wasn't the suit thing that bothered me, it was just the icing on top. She had texted me saying she wasn't doing anything. She had just started her new semester and said she had no work yet. She also lives 5 minutes from me. And I have never asked her to do anything like this for me before. That said, if she had said, "No, I'm sorry, I have something to do," I would have understood, but the exact text was, "I am not your effing slave. Go ask your partner to do it since you apparently want to make out with him." Regarding my cousin, I was really annoyed that he said that, especially since he's never said anything like that to me. After I confronted him, he just brushed it off like, "Well, you must see it." That said, I do want to talk to Sarah again, I just don't know how to bring it up since every time I do, she shuts down. OP's edit. We don't live together because prior to this new job, I didn't make as much and my apartment is very small and not meant for 2 people, and she is doing her master's and only works part-time for low pay and doesn't want to pitch in for rent so we can move to a bigger place. She lives at home with her parents. And even with my new job, I can't afford a bigger place all on my own, yet while also paying for student loans, utilities, my car, which is a necessity where I live, etc. Also, I know 2 to 3 times a week seeing each other is not a ton, but we spent all my days off together. We didn't see each other more than this prior because my old job was still 40 plus hours and I was also going to school. Additionally, people think it's strange that I mentioned her being introverted as if it were a bad thing. It's not. I used to think I was happy not seeing our friends often, but my job is social and I enjoy being more outgoing than I used to be. This doesn't mean I go out every night. I see my friends and cousin maybe once every 1 to 2 months, or that I want to go to bars and clubs, but it does bug me that anytime I suggest doing anything, she makes an excuse like she doesn't like the person, she has no interest in meeting new people, doesn't feel like seeing her friends, doesn't feel like getting dressed up, she's tired, etc. I want us to do new things together. Also, I've been asked a lot about what I've done to support her and why I expect her support. Let me make it clear, first, that I have never asked her to run an errand or do anything for me before. I asked this one time because I was exhausted and stressed. I didn't expect her to drive an hour to drop it off at my partner's house just to leave it on my bed so I could grab it on my way home. As for what I do to support her, I've helped her many times with research for papers when she was stressed over school. I've taken a week off of work when one of her relatives died and she needed to be with someone. I've taken her car to get fixed numerous times, etc, etc. I text or call whenever I can, which is multiple times a day, and I talk to her every night when I get off. I don't even spend tons of off-duty time with my partner. The one time at the bar was literally the first time I'd seen him outside of work, and we had just been talking about all getting together for ages. Hope this clarifies some points a bit. Okay, well, the community raised some very good questions for OP, and I think he did answer all of them. And I've gotta say, after that message about the suit thing, my empathy level for Sarah really dropped. In any case, it's time to move on with the update to see how this story ends, but of course before that, here's another one of my playlists for you to enjoy after this video. Now let's move on to the update. First of all, I am not a spy or hitman or something crazy. A few of you tried to convince me that I am an a-hole for not disclosing my job since apparently I can't be given advice without saying it. I described so many details in my last post that I hope people can just give me at least an ounce of anonymity. My career is known for cheating only because of the unpredictable hours. Some scumbags, apparently a lot of them on Yahoo Questions and Wedding Bee and other cesspits of advice that show up on Google, use these hours to their advantage. It asked, "Oh, I got caught in overtime tonight," when really they were out cheating. This is not a prevalent thing in my experience, but my girlfriend Sarah was Googling my career spouse and came across hundreds of articles, most of them benign, and latched onto the few that state we all used our schedules for the sake of cheating and nothing else. Anyway, on to the update. I'm not delusional. A lot of you told me that the only reason I admired my work partner's wife is because she showed her best face to me in public. Of course this is true. I don't expect anyone to be perfect. What stands out to me, however, is that there is a lot of downtime in my position and my partner and I talk. Every single thing that he has ever said about his wife is positive. Naturally, I would hope that would be the case for anyone, but I see something in the way he talks about her that I do not feel when I think about Sarah. He ruminates about their vacations and silly stories and stupid random nights they have together, and I realized that I don't get to enjoy any of that with her. Sarah doesn't like being out of her comfort zone. She doesn't like being spontaneous. She doesn't like being silly. I never knew that this bothered me before, but when I saw how funny and silly they acted together right in front of my face, it just confirmed that I could actually have fun in a relationship. It made me realize that I am not having fun, and that sucked. So, after I slept over at my work partner's house, Sarah wasn't talking to me except for sending me passive-aggressive texts about how she hoped that I enjoyed my romantic evening and that she hoped he was worth it. Many of you indicated how insecure she must be that we can barely spend much time together, and suddenly it seems like I am becoming close to someone new when after 6 years we maybe weren't as close as we could or should be. I took this to heart and I saw her point. So the next time I was off, this past Sunday, I took her out to brunch, one of the few activities she likes to do. Bought us some mimosas to break the ice and tried to talk to her about the way that she's been feeling. I started the conversation saying, I know it sucks that we can't see each other as much as we wish we could right now. And believe me, I wish that could be the case. However, I feel like this is causing more tension than it used to, and I want to know what you've been feeling about all of this lately. I was hoping for an honest conversation where we could both learn from each other and move forward with new compromises. But she just unleashed. She says she doesn't think I have a reason to be close to anyone but her, that my partner sounds like a gay slur. Her words, not mine, that wants to F me, and his wife must be fed up with not getting any penis and is trying to move in on me, and on and on. In retrospect, I feel like she is just very insecure and this was her way of attacking me and trying to hold me back so I could reassure her. But at the moment, I couldn't think of a way to respond. I tried to deny what she was saying, explained to her that it wasn't the case, and asked what I could do to show her, but she just kept verbally assaulting my partner and his wife, and me for even entertaining the idea of being friends with them. I stopped talking, and we ended up finishing our meal in silence, her fuming, me just feeling awkward at this point. Afterwards, we got back into my car and I started driving towards her house. She noticed that we weren't going towards the direction of my apartment and she started yelling at me for trying to drop her off and not wanting to spend more time with her. At this point, I had had enough. I drove to her house in silence, her berating me the entire way, and then listened to her continue to scream at me for 10 minutes after we pulled up until finally getting out, slamming the passenger door and going inside the house. I did ask for the key back when she was yelling at me. I got it. Smiley face. I went back to my apartment, spent about 30 minutes on the phone with my sister, 2 years younger than me, asking her what the F should I do? And then decided, probably cowardly after such a long relationship, but really not wanting to be screamed at anymore, to send her a long text message about my reasons for breaking up with her. She didn't take this well and blew up my phone until I just turned it off. The next day I had work and I tried to talk to her about things back and forth over text, but she kept deferring back to her state of cursing at me and insulting me. In the end, I just told her that I could no longer be a part of her life and blocked her. So that was 4 days ago and I haven't heard from her since. She deleted her Facebook though. And honestly, I've felt a lot calmer these last 4 days than I have in a long time. It makes me feel guilty at times, but also kind of excited that I can act however I want from now on without someone looking down at me for it. Well, OP, I'm gonna call this a happy update. Maybe not for Sarah, but she definitely had it coming. I mean, she berated you for more than 10 minutes about you not wanting to spend time with her. Gee, I wonder why you wouldn't want to do that. Also, OP, I would generally advocate to have the courage to stand face to face with the person that you want to break up with, but I also don't want to be popier than the Pope, so I'm gonna chalk this one up to the exception that confirms the rule. You not wanting to be verbally abused for breaking up is a solid reason in my opinion, so here's wishing you the very best in the future without Sarah, OP. Take care, and thank you for sharing. Now, let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user I Need That Tiny Llama. I got fired and cost the store approximately $30,000. I was working a second job at our local grocery and butcher shop a few nights a week to pay for my kids' activities. I was hired as a cashier. The person that did the end-of-day butcher shop cleanup and sanitizing quit. So instead of hiring someone to clean up, the owners decided that the cashiers could do it between customers. The owners sat at their office, watching TV and effing around, and when a customer came in, the doorbell would ring. They would buzz the phone in the butcher area for the cashier to come to check them out. When I came in for my shift at 6 p.m. and was told about the new setup, I told them no, I was not hired to clean up the butcher area. I was hired to run the register and stock shelves. The owner then said I would clean up the butcher shop or I could consider myself fired. And they walked away. I said, fine. I grabbed my things and left. Apparently, the owner thought I had given in and was in doing the cleaning, so they buzzed the butcher area when customers came in for about 2 hours before someone told them no one was coming to check them out. The store's liquor area, cigarettes, and scratchers got emptied out. It was 7:30 and I got a screaming phone call from the owner about how he was calling the police and I was going to get arrested. Yeah, right. The owner did call the police. The owner stated he wanted me arrested as an accomplice to the thefts because I had left. Cops asked me to come to the store, which I did, and I explained that the owner had fired me, so I went home, and the CCTV would prove that fact. The tape was reviewed, and plain as day, the owner said I was fired. I estimate the loss was $30,000. If the boss would have only stayed to see if his ultimatum sank in. What an idiot. Thanks for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.